Good morning, guys, and welcome to another episode of Father's Fire. My name is Jody Cedric, and every week we get together to explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows, and yes, the fun of being a dad. And I tell you right now, everybody is up in a roar with Corona, but you know what? We're not going to let that keep a good man down. We're going to keep moving, keep pressing, have some fun with the family, take care of our family, and we're just going to kick this thing in the butt. So anyway, I have an exceptional guest this week. His name is Daniel Gill. And hey, Dan, how are you today, man? I'm so honored to have you with me, man.
Man, doing great, Jody. How are you?
I'm awesome. It's early morning. I got up early. I'm probably talking too loud, so because I'm actually recording early on a Saturday morning for the release of this on Monday. I appreciate you joining me. So,
Absolutely.
man, you and I actually met about 6 months ago. So
We
Daniel
did.
Gill runs a detailing shop. And I just was really, really intrigued with you because we got talking about detailing, but somehow our conversation evolved into being dads. And you are the dad of three beautiful daughters, and you have a beautiful wife. I was out on your Facebook looking at all your family pictures. I'm like, man, that is a man that God trusted with a beautiful wife and three girls. I mean, you got to have something special in your heart.
That's a full-time job just in itself, taking care of them four. You know, it's always something. Always.
It's funny because I have four boys and I have two daughters, and it is a different beast. I mean, you talk to your girls different, they interact with you different, and it's pretty funny. It's like my second son actually came home like 2 weeks ago, and he had a brand new compound bow. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm deciding I'm gonna be a bow hunter. And I'm like, really? So he's been every night going out in our backyard and marking off 30, 40 yards and shooting the compound bow. And then last night, I walked down the stairs. I drove down to Salt Lake like 3 days ago to get my daughter from UVU because they've shut down the college now because of Corona. And so
Yeah.
now my two daughters, every night, the last 2 nights, all they've been doing is TikTok dances.
Oh, the classic TikToking.
so what unique crazy things are your daughters putting you through?
Well, actually, I just had both of them, my two oldest. Just my oldest turned 10, my middle one turned 7. They were born March 25th and March 26th. And we just celebrated their birthdays as best we could with all the virus stuff, and kind of felt a little bit bad because we couldn't do much of anything for them. We got them a cake, got them birthday card, and we was like, look, we understand, you have to understand that, we can't do anything. We can't bring a bunch of people over to have a party, but we promise that once all this is over, we'll make it up to you, and they understood. You could tell it kind of hurt, but they understood, they're kind of getting in the groove of understanding what's going on and trying to, they're like, well, let's go to so-and-so. It's just like, we can't go to so-and-so. We can't go see them or we can't go hang out with them, but they're understanding. So,
Yeah. So what are you doing creative to keep your girls active and not feeling like they're going stir crazy in the house?
well, we do a few things. I bring them down here to the shop, which is behind me here, and I let them work on stuff with me. I let them. We had to move some piping, so I let them use the tubing cutters to cut some copper piping, and uh, I show them how to use a tape measure, and then at home we've actually started using a lot of my old scrap wood and stuff I had laying around. We've started building a fort, so
Cool.
we've been learning how to use hammers and nails, and my My middle one got her first lesson in the claw hammer and her finger, and oh yeah, had a big old blood blister on that pointer finger right there. And she was all worried. I said, "Look, it's fine. Just leave it alone." Just and she, oh, it hurt, but she said, "You ever have one?" I said, "Baby, I've had more than you'll ever have." So that's
I
what we're
love
doing.
I love that you're getting your girls in your shop and having them help you build their fort, because I think a lot of times we think that's man stuff, right, or boy stuff. And what I found is, like, especially like with my youngest daughter, she is, let's run with the boys, let's play rugby, let's play football, I'm not sitting on the sidelines. And I think that's great that you're doing that, because, man, what I found is that my girls really really push me in ways, in a positive way. They push me in a positive way to really excel and to include them, and they just bring a different dynamic to it. And I think a lot of it is my wife, because my wife is all in everything, right?
I last couple of days we've been down here. I've actually let them paint the walls, and that's a that's a big thing for me because my OCD. I want straight lines, and I don't want no runs in my wall. And my wife's looking at me like, "You're actually going to let them do this?" And I'll come back after they're done and kind of clean up whatever but it gives them it, it allows them to be part of everything that's going on. I don't want them to feel like it's just me or it's just me and my wife's business. I want it to be a family business. I want people to know that when they come to my shop, they're part of our family now. They're part of my children's life. They're part of mine and my wife's life. And I want my daughters to see that too, that, I always see all the time on Facebook and social media, and especially the news, is negative, 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 negative. I mean, every story is negative. Everything you see is negative. It's people against people. And I'm trying to teach my girls that the world is hard. Life is hard. Life is not going to stop just because you get your feelings hurt. Life's not going to stop just because this bad happened in your life. But you take that negative, or you take that lesson and you get over it, get done with it, and move on. Use it as a learning, something that you've learned, and move on. And, I also tell them everybody's not as bad as everything seems to be all the time.
Yeah.
There are still good people in this world, but you have to determine who you allow into your life and who you don't. And I have noticed that it's a very hard thing for girls. For mine, I know, especially my oldest, she's a lot like my wife. She's got a humongous heart, wants to love everybody, wants to, invite everybody in, and a lot of times she gets hurt because of that. And I'm trying to, we talk a lot about, watch people, learn people, listen to what they're saying, and determine yourself if that person is right for your life or not. And like I put on our, the Facebook page one day, I want to teach my girls stuff that I was not taught.
Yeah.
Things that I wish somebody would have taught me earlier in life, to where I could be in and I'm not saying a better place, just in a better situation as far as other things in my life. I probably could have learned a long time ago if somebody would have just sat down and talked to me about it.
Yeah. You said two things in there that I want to revisit. One, you said, you let your girls paint your shop, and with some, and these are my words, trepidation, because of the OCD in your head, right?
Yes.
And I remember, when I was growing up, my dad, we actually built an add-on to our house, and my dad actually had me and my brothers sling the hammer and run the mud and the tape and stuff. And I still remember, taping off the bedroom, and I'm doing the tape and I'm doing the mud, and I'm like, that is not looking good, right? Even I knew it wasn't looking good, but my dad didn't make me feel bad. He's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to come back after and I'm going to make it the way it should be. But he allowed me that space. And I think that's an area where a lot of men struggle with their kids, is allowing them the space and stepping back and allowing them to learn and to experience, because it's easy to want to just jump in and do it right.
Absolutely. And it's very hard for me sometimes. I'm just, I want to just let me finish this, and that way we can get it done. And I have to stop for a minute and go, you know what? If I was them and that was my dad, I would want to finish it. I would want him to allow me to finish it.
Yeah.
And every evening, anytime they come to the shop and they do anything, if they just come down here and they pick up a little bit of trash or something like that, when we get home that night, when they come in there or they want to say something, I'll look straight at them, whichever way it comes, or I'll look at them and go, thank you for your help today. It don't matter what they done. I just thank you for your help today at the shop. And they smile. Oh, you're welcome, Daddy. And, and we moved on. But, that way they know I'm appreciative to anything they do, but I do my best, and I fail a lot of times in a lot of places as a father, but, long as they know I love them and I'll do anything for them, and that they can come to Daddy at any time and talk about anything, that's my main goal, is, to know that no matter what happens in their life, come to me, let's talk about it. If it don't matter how bad it is, let's talk about it and see if we can help you get out of that situation before it gets to a point to where we can't help you out of that situation.
Yeah.
So, but girls it has been a trying time for me to raise girls. I'm not going to lie. It's a different world. Completely.
What has been the biggest challenge?
Before it started, I tried my best to prepare myself mentally, but the biggest is the drama that comes from school.
And speaking my language, man.
Oh my, and it's, and there's things that I want to tell them to go back to school and say, but it's like, you know what, I can't say that. They're going to get in trouble, and it's just, and I knew this going in, raising girls, that other girls, especially in school, I mean, even when I've seen it in grown women, they're very mean to each other.
Yeah.
And especially if there's an odd number, if there's an odd number of, let's say, 3 girls, especially younger girls, 2 will team up on this one. And my oldest is struggling with that in school severely. But we're working on it. We're getting there, and I just keep telling her, every day you wake up, the first thing you do before you ever hit the ground is thank God for another day, because he's allowed you another day. So that tells me he's not done with you yet. There's a reason why you're here. And I said, and every morning go to the bathroom and look in the mirror and say, I am who I am, and I will be a winner today. Every day. Positive mindset, start out every day. Yes, there will things go bad in your life. There will things go bad during that day. But if you start the day with a positive mindset and end your day with a positive mindset, those bad things are going to be very small compared to everything else. And the drama part is just, now my middle one, she's a lot of me. And we could care less if the sun shines tomorrow. As long as we're having fun, we don't care. If somebody don't like us, what? It's their loss, you know.
Too bad.
Right. And my oldest, you know, she's I'm working. It's a work in progress, but she's getting better. You know, it's hard for her. But girls are wow. Now my littlest and my 2-year-old, now that's she's king of the forest right now. She thinks she thinks that she has to go with everybody and be with, you know, she thinks she is 10 years old, just as old as they are, and ready to roll at any time.
It's really interesting how different each one of your kids are. I mean, I have two daughters, and one is extremely athletic and, competitive. And then the other one is all drama, all girl, all fashion. And and quite honestly, I really struggle with all the drama. And Judy's always trying to coach me. He's like, Jody, just step back, take a breath. Because I'm like, you're creating your own drama, and so that's been a real challenge for me. It's because I'm not into the drama, right? And so,
I'm
but
not either, not even close. Yeah, you can ask my wife. Me and her both. You know, we don't do drama at all. I mean, period. I mean, you know, I can give you my phone and scroll through Facebook, and my feed is going to be positive feeds, positive people, you know, people that are, you know, trying to better themselves. If you're all about the drama and calling out people and all, you got to go. I'm not. I've got plenty in my life already. I don't need to be looking on Facebook or social media or any of that and seeing even more, because it just depresses you.
yeah,
You know, I mean, it's just you can't compare your chapter 5 to somebody's chapter 20. And since I've learned that, and I've actually took that to heart, I do me.
yeah,
I do me, I do my wife and my children. That's what we do. That's how we concentrate on those first. And then once we're established those, then we go out and we help the people that are in need of help. But you can't help it's the old saying, you can't help anybody if you don't help yourself first.
yeah.
Can't be crippled and go out and help other crippled people. You just don't, you have to get yourself to a certain point before you can help other people, and that there's exceptions to that, but that's mostly, the way I look at things.
One of the things that I keep thinking about it is, as I reflect on our conversation, is, one, you've allowed your girls to work with you. Two, you're helping them every day recognize that they need to kneel down, thank God for another day, go into the mirror, look at themselves and say, you know what? I am special. I have value. I have worth. And who I am is needed in the world. And you've created an environment where they feel that dad loves them. They feel like dad is walking with them always. And, the kids, what I'm learning is that kids will always remember what you did with them, but more importantly, they will remember how they felt with you. And that
Absolutely.
feeling really gives them strength. It gives them core values. It allows them to walk this world with confidence, knowing
Absolutely.
that they are valued and that they are loved. And
About I'm gonna say about 4 years ago, Jody, um, I was working a lot, and I do mean a lot of overtime at my primary job. And I don't know where, how, or what happened. Um, I think God gave me he more or less slapped me across the face and was like, look. And I turned around and looked, and my oldest was 2 years older. And I don't even know where them 2 years went. I don't even remember them. And I just, I, I went to my wife and I said, I'm done. I'm this a whole bunch of overtime and working all the time and, just staying out there. I'm done. I'm, and ever since then, and that's one of the biggest reasons I started my detail business, was to where I could take time to go to the function at the school, to go do stuff with him, and I do have to say, by far, my relationship, since I've done that, my relationship with my wife has grown better. My
Mm.
relationship with my three daughters has grown. And I asked my wife, I said, if I worked all my life with all this overtime and stayed out there all the time, and I lose my wife and I get to retire and I don't even know the woman laying next to me. She don't know me on a personal level anymore. My kids are grown and gone. Yeah, I've bought them everything they could possibly imagine money wise. But if I lose my wife and my children, what have I worked for? What have I shown them? I've shown them that a father and a husband don't do nothing but work and bring money home.
Yeah.
And that ain't what I want for my daughters. I want my daughters to know, and I know for, this is not something people think or some people have an opinion. It is a fact. A daughter, especially a daughter, is watching how a husband treats their wife, and that is exactly what they will be looking for when they look for a man later on in life.
Yes.
If you are a godly man and treat your wife the way she should be treated, then that is what your daughters will expect when they get a husband. If they don't have that respect and they don't see the godly in you, then they're going to move on. And if I, that is what God has instilled on me, is to teach my daughters how a man is truly supposed to treat a woman. And I take that very, very seriously, severely seriously, because it's my responsibility. And I struggled with some things earlier in my marriage and life, and as a father, not bad, just some struggles. And I went to, now he's my pastor, but he's more of a father figure, um, my second father figure than anything. And I talked to him about it, and he said, Daniel, he said, it clearly states that a man leaves his mother and father, marries a woman, and becomes a family. When you die and you're standing in front of him, he's not going to ask you how you took care of this person or this person or this. He's going to flat out ask you, what did you do with the wife that I gave you and the children that I allowed you to have? How did you do that? Did you take responsibility for them? That's what he's going to question you about. He's not going to ask you how you took care of your grandmother or your grandfather or your own mother he's going to ask you about your family that he allowed you to have. And that has stuck with me ever since. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, and I tell you, it shows in your Facebook feed, man. And it shows, more importantly, it shows in the way that you talk about your wife and your children. I mean, that is the one thing that really drew me to you when we were at SEMA, back in November, was you and I were sitting there at that detailer's party and we're talking, and our conversation naturally went to our wife and to our children. And I'm like, you know what, this is a good man. This is a man that has his priorities straight. And it's easy. I mean, we know, I mean, it would be easy to work all the time and to build an empire and to build a business and, get all the accolades from the community and all that stuff. But the true value that I saw in you and that I'm trying to do as a father is I'm trying to make sure that I'm truly 100%, 120% invested in my family, making sure that they know that they are loved, that they are cherished. And like you said, be the man with my wife, and I want to model what a good, godly, honorable man, how he treats his wife should be. Because I know that if I can emulate that for my kids, my girls will get better husbands, they'll have great relationships, and my boys will become men that will treat their wives exceptionally.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And, um, and and on my Facebook, I'm not trying to, and if people think I'm trying to be boastful or if I'm trying to show off, and I'm not doing that at all. What
no,
I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to think about what's going on in their own personal life, making them realize I'm missing my children's life. I'm missing, you know, your that relationship with your wife needs to be, I mean, divorce is just astronomical. I don't even know the numbers, but I'm sure
yeah,
it's unreal right now. And it's because we're not having the values that we've had in the past. People are, it's just another day for them. Oh,
yeah,
well, we'll get married and then all of a sudden, boom, we, we'll just get a divorce. Well, it don't happen like that.
no,
it, it's just like that saying I've seen, back, they ask a older gentleman, how did you and your wife have 50 plus years of marriage? He said, I came from a generation that if something was broke, you fixed it.
yeah,
And I do have, I have a bad problem with, and my wife will tell you real quick, I have a bad problem with holding some stuff in and not talking. And she will just grab me and, sit me down and look me in the eye and go, okay, what's going on? Talk to me. And I'm like, it's okay. I'll fix it. And she's like, no, you're not leaving until we fix it right here, right now. I need to know. And so and once I get it out and talk to her, we can work together as it,
yeah,
um, it, it's just, it's, and again, it goes back to showing my girls how a husband treats a wife and how a father treats their children.
yeah,
And they will hold those values and look for that later on in life.
yeah. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to visit with me. I mean, this has been so insightful. It's refreshing, and really, that's the goal of this: is to find men who are trying to be great fathers, great husbands, great men in the community, so that we can all rise and lift each other. If you had one or two golden nuggets that you would recommend fathers do, what are those one or two that you would absolutely say this is what you have to do?
Um, First of all, I would say tell your children that you love them every single day, multiple times a day. Walk up, grab them, kiss them on the top of the head, and tell them you love them. That goes way further than people think it does, and just, and I do it way more now. It's just stop and watch them, look at them, watch them play. We go out there to the back of the field, back behind the house, and they'll run through the flowers. And phone's gone, and I just sit there and I just watch them play. And I thank God that He allowed me to have them. I mean, I tell them that I love them every day, and I thank God that they're in my life, and and uh, they are the exact thing. My wife and my three kids are the exact thing that I prayed for way before they ever got here. And I told myself, if I ever get to that point to where I've got a beautiful wife and a beautiful family and children, that I would not take it for granted. That I would do my very best to do whatever I can to keep them. And I lost sight of that for a little while. I really did. I allowed work and more or less I allowed greed to creep into my heart for a while. And God pulled me back in, was like, no, you remember this? And I was like, yes, sir, I do. I'm sorry. I'll work on that.
I love that, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thank
I
you.
love the conversation. I love the man that you are. I love that we've become friends, and I just wish you and your family, much love and especially safety during this Corona
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
But thank you very much, man. And you guys that are tuning in, thank you for joining me every week as we explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows. And you can see, with our conversation with Daniel, there's a lot to enjoy about being a dad. So thanks for joining me, and we will catch you guys same time, same bat channel right here on Father's Fire. Have a great day. See ya. Hey, man. Well, thank you so much, man.